All right, let's talk about something that millions of women are dealing with, but often they're doing it in silence. We're going to dive into why it can feel next to impossible to manage your weight during perimenopause and menopause. We'll get into the science, the strategies, and the mindset you need to really navigate this.
So if you've ever felt like you are doing everything right, you're eating well, you're trying to stay active, but the scale just isn't moving, or maybe it's even creeping up, I really need you to hear this loud and clear. It is not just you, and it is absolutely not a failure of willpower. This is biology, plain and simple, and we're about to break down exactly what's going on.
You know, this whole phase of life can be so incredibly frustrating. It's kind of like your body suddenly changed the rulebook, but forgot to send you the memo. And it leads to this constant battle that is just physically and emotionally draining.
So what is really happening here? Well, it all starts with one major hormonal shift, the decline in estrogen. And that one change sets off this powerful domino effect throughout your entire body.
In fact, there's a name for it, which I think is so helpful. Obesity medicine expert Dr. Courtney Younglove calls this the triple whammy. It's such a powerful way to describe this three-pronged biological challenge. Because when you can name it, you can understand that it's a real shared experience, not some kind of personal failing. Okay, so let's unpack this triple whammy. First, as your estrogen drops, your body gets more resistant to insulin. That basically tells your body to store more fat, especially right around your middle. Second, your muscle mass, which is literally the engine of your metabolism, starts to decline. Less muscle means a slower metabolism. And third, cortisol, the stress hormone. It tends to go up, partly because sleep gets so disrupted. And guess what it does? It also tells your body to store fat. It is a perfect storm for weight gain. And this is exactly why that old advice to just eat less completely backfires. When your body is in this state and you drastically cut calories, you just end up exhausted. It triggers this intense hunger and sparks these powerful cravings. You're not weak. You're literally fighting your own biology. But as if all those hormonal changes weren't enough, that's not even the whole story. The experience of menopause gets piled on with a whole range of other physical and emotional pressures. For example, let's talk about a condition you may never have heard of, but you might be feeling. It's the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause. It's a fancy term for all those widespread aches and pains in your joints, your ligaments, your tendons that are a direct result of having lower estrogen. And of course, it can make the very idea of exercising feel totally overwhelming. And just how common is this? Get this, a staggering 70%. 7 out of 10 women will experience this. This isn't some rare thing, it's the reality for most of us. So if you're feeling those aches and pains, and it's making it harder to move, you are so far from alone. And then, on top of all the physical stuff, there's just life. Midlife is often a time of huge pressure. You might be navigating career changes, relationship shifts, taking care of aging parents, all while you're trying to process society's weird feelings about aging. It's like Dr. Younglove says, it's hard to implement lifestyle improvements when we feel like we are already drowning. How true is that? The most important thing to remember is that these experiences are real. They're legitimate. This quote really hits hard because it speaks to that deep frustration of being dismissed. When doctors don't listen, it leaves women vulnerable to all these companies promising quick fixes. But here's the good news. There are real, evidence-based solutions out there.
So we've talked about the challenges. Now let's pivot to the solutions. It's time to talk about how you can start taking back control with a modern medical toolkit that can make a huge difference.
Okay, 2 big tools to talk about with your doctor. First, there's Menopausal Hormone Therapy, or MHT. This is all about replacing the estrogen your body isn't making anymore, and it can directly tackle symptoms like insulin resistance. Second, there are anti-obesity medications. These can be a really powerful way to kickstart your journey. But, and this is a really big but, they have to be paired with a solid nutrition and strength training plan to protect your vital muscle mass. Now, beyond the medical tools, there are some powerful lifestyle strategies. And these are not optional, nice-to-have things. For this phase of life, they are essential medicine. Let's start with nutrition, and specifically protein. Protein becomes absolutely critical for holding on to the muscle and bone mass you're at risk of losing. And we're not talking about just a little extra chicken at dinner. The target you're aiming for is about 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight. Getting this much also does something cool called the protein leverage effect, which helps you feel fuller and naturally eat less of other stuff. And when it comes to movement, we have to shift our focus. The goal is a combination of strength training to preserve that precious muscle and cardio for your heart health.
And this is so important. If you have pain, you have to address it. See a physical therapist, get it checked out. Pushing through the pain is not the answer anymore. Working with your body is. This right here is a massive mindset shift. The number on the scale tells such an incomplete story. The real win, the thing to celebrate, is your body composition. Are you losing fat while holding on to or even building lean muscle? That is the key to a strong, healthy metabolism for years to come.
And we can't wrap this up without talking about sleep and stress. They're huge factors. Improving your sleep hygiene is always step one. But for real insomnia, check out CBTI, or cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. It's super effective. And learning to reduce stress, including the radical act of delegating, that's not a luxury, it's a health necessity.
Okay, so we have the tools, we know what to do. But how do we actually make it stick? This last part is all about finding a motivation that actually lasts, one that goes way beyond the day-to-day frustrations.
Nurse practitioner Sandra Christensen asks her patients this really powerful question. So forget about the reunion next month or that beach vacation. Think bigger. How do you want your life to look and feel in a decade? Do you want to be able to get down on the floor and play with grandkids? Travel the world without getting tired? That vision, that's your real why. So once you have that big why, the process gets really practical. You just ask yourself, okay, what am I actually willing to do to make that future happen? And then you break it down into the smallest possible first step. Not a huge diet overhaul, just one thing. Maybe it's adding a protein shake to your morning or walking for 5 minutes 3 times a week. That's how you begin. I love this quote because it really gets to the heart of it. This journey demands self-compassion. So often, we are just so hard on ourselves. The real goal here is to become your own ally, to cheer for yourself, no matter how small the steps seem.
And please remember this. You are going to have days where you fall back into old habits. You're going to veer off course. That is not failure. It's just a normal, expected part of being human. The whole key is to notice it, without judgment, and just gently guide yourself back.
So, I'll leave you with this question. After everything we've covered, what is the one small, manageable change you are willing to make starting today for the person you want to be in 10 years? Because that single, small decision, that's where the real transformation begins.